Baltimore is not a hotbed where receivers want to come. I don't really know what choice the Ravens have, considering I can't remember the last time they've had a 1,000-yard receiver.
Zay Flowers joining the offense in Baltimore.
Not big, extremely quick, big-time route runner. Can run past you at any given time.
I'm very eager. I think I told someone, like, man, I want to throw for like 6,000 yards with the weapons we have.
You know, you guys, while it might not seem like it to some of you that are out there watching this video, but with all things considered, it's pretty ridiculous to see what the Baltimore Ravens have actually pulled off over the course of this offseason. Because, well, I mean, in the span of just a couple of weeks, the outlook on the Ravens' upcoming season essentially went from the definition of absolute turmoil, honestly, to one of the best outcomes that they even could have anticipated. But sure, I mean, with Lamar locked in, the arrival of Odell Beckham Jr., and of course what looks to be an exceptional 2023 draft class, there's absolutely zero reason why Eric DeCosta and Ravens fans shouldn't be on cloud nine right now. But of course, there's still the underlying question of how exactly will all of this that we've seen translate to what we're going to see on the field from this team come September. And well, at least from everything that we've seen up to this point, it could be a lot crazier than some of you might have been expecting. But if you guys are expecting more offseason content, don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications to never miss another NFL video as we slowly approach the 2023 season. Okay, so to get back on topic with the Baltimore Ravens, while yes, I think it's pretty clear to almost anyone that watches football that while retaining Lamar Jackson was clearly the pivotal objective for the Baltimore Ravens this offseason, but it also definitely was not their only concern. And sure, while some people consider what this team actually did look like over the course of the prior season, when you think about the fact that they are actually coming off of a postseason berth, and they arguably would have won a game if it wasn't for a very, very unfortunate play, and while even posting one of the more formidable ground games in the entire NFL, some people might have been wondering what else exactly needed to change. And the funny thing is that when you actually look at their ground game dominance, it also points directly to the biggest issue, considering that is really all they cared about. I mean, the fact that they even made the playoffs with as one-dimensional of an offense as they had, while even missing Lamar Jackson for a third of the entire season is ridiculous. But it at least resulted in a positive, because that lack of versatility is exactly where the rest of this offseason actually comes into account. Because, well, in terms of the new direction that the Baltimore Ravens are at least trying to go in on the offensive side of the ball, I personally don't think anything makes it more clear than their first-round selection in this year's draft of wide receiver Zay Flowers. And while there are even still some concerns regarding him as a prospect, such as his smaller frame size as a wide receiver and even his limited experience playing at a school like Boston College, Baltimore is completely confident that he can fit seamlessly into a Lamar Jackson-led offense, and trust me, you should too. Because, I mean, if the film on this guy in itself is not enough to show you that things like his explosive playmaking abilities, his more than impressive run after the catch skills, or even his ability to constantly create separation will somehow not translate to the professional level, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Nonetheless though, I mean, with a guy putting up numbers like these in a Power 5 conference, also not to mention with a guy not named Lamar Jackson getting him the football, just try to imagine what he can do with Lamar Jackson getting him the football. I mean, for starters, his versatility allows him to play both on the outside or inside depending on the situation. He absolutely thrives in the short to medium portions of the field, tailored more towards Lamar Jackson's play style. And oh yeah, very clearly from the film as well, he can blow the top off a secondary at any given point with a deep ball. So obviously, with his very exceptional skill set as a receiver pretty much outweighing any concern that Baltimore might have had with him, all of the remaining moving parts around Zay Flowers within this new look offense might actually determine how he is used. Now, of course, when you're talking about the continued additions to this wide receiver room and versatile guys like Odell Beckham Jr. and even Nelson Agholor, and while you also can't forget about some of their high-end retained pieces and guys like Rashod Bateman and high-caliber tight end Mark Andrews, while all of them will likely have an impact in their own respective ways, what I think might be the most overlooked acquisition for them is simply their new offensive coordinator in Todd Monken. Because, well, when you take just a little bit of a deeper dive into this situation, it could end up being the perfect hiring. Because in terms of some of the biggest changes that we should notice right from the jump when observing a Todd Monken ran offense as opposed to their prior offensive coordinator in Greg Roman, well, I mean, even from the words of Todd Monken himself, it could be a complete 180 approach. Because with him very clearly having a proven track record of utilizing a team's pass game more than anything else, that same resume also shows us that he is going to have an absolute field day working with both these wide receivers and tight ends. I mean, on one side of things, you have the history of Todd Monken working with Odell Beckham Jr. back when they were in Cleveland, where we can at least somewhat assume both through the film and the numbers that Monken definitely knows a thing or two on how to get the ball OBJ's way. And then even in terms of trying to get Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely more involved within the offense, Monken's actually coming off of a 3-year stint as the offensive coordinator at Georgia, where if you didn't pay attention, his offense practically ran through the tight end powerhouse in Brock Bowers. So I mean, if you thought that Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely exceeded their expectations last season, I don't even know where to begin of what to expect from them this year. But then even when you're further trying to consider how he can use a weapon like Zay Flowers, because even aside from his air presence, he can also heavily be utilized in pre-motion sets as seen from his college days, which is also something that the Ravens have heavily used in the past as well. And if they do try to do this, I mean, it's only going to add further to the unpredictability of their already dominant ground game that they are retaining going into 2023 as well. So while everything at least seems lined up to give this team a dynamic dual threat offense to a level that they've never had before, there might just be one more thing to consider. Now, while there shouldn't be any denying of the fact that Lamar Jackson is easily one of the more versatile dual-threat quarterbacks that we've ever seen at the professional level, that still doesn't stop people from trying to diminish his abilities as an actual pocket passer. And I mean, sure, while his numbers ever since his MVP season in 2019 haven't necessarily been up to the very high standard that he set for himself, there also definitely needs to be the time where the historical underinvestment of weapons around Lamar Jackson needs to be the main talking point. But lucky enough for Ravens fans, that talking point is no longer needed, because again, as the film would show us, with Lamar clearly showing promise in his abilities when he was actually on the field in 2022, along with a completely revamped offensive scheme, a retained top 5 ground game, and also not to mention one of the best defenses in the entire NFL as well supporting them, the Ravens look just about ready to hit the ground running in 2023. But of course, and as always, we'll just have to wait and see. Nonetheless though, you guys, I am also extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about the entire Baltimore Ravens situation, so please be sure to let me know in the comments what has surprised you the most from their offseason moves, or what are you most eager to see from them in the 2023 season. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.